Chronology. The arrangement of events in the order of their occurrence. The author used chronology to tell the story of the character's life. The textbook provided a clear chronology of the Industrial Revolution. We can use chronology to understand how transportation has changed. Pedagogy. The study of the methods and activities of teaching. The book discussed the history of pedagogy in early childhood education. The professor's pedagogy encouraged student reflection and metacognition. The workshop provided strategies for incorporating technology into pedagogy. Supernatural. Caused by forces that cannot be explained by science. Folklore often includes supernatural elements and mythical creatures. The true nature of the supernatural phenomenon is shrouded in mystery. The horror movie had a lot of supernatural powers that were frightening. Meticulous. Showing great attention to detail, very careful and precise. Many hours of meticulous preparation have gone into writing the book. Working as a proofreader requires a very meticulous approach to detail. The scholar's attention to detail was evident in her meticulous research. Insurmountable. Impossible to solve or get control of something. The task required an insurmountable amount of effort and dedication. The problem was insurmountable, but we tackled it one step at a time. The mountain range presented an insurmountable barrier for the hikers. Monumental. Very important and having the great influence. The scientist made a monumental breakthrough in the field of medicine. The Apollo program was a monumental achievement in space exploration. The actor delivered a monumental performance that earned them an award. Physiology. Deals with the functions and activities of life or of living matter. The compound leaf is a subject of study in botany and plant physiology. Some ornithologists specialize in studying bird anatomy and physiology. The biology department offers a course on human anatomy and physiology. Eloquence. The practice or art of using language with fluency. The professor's lectures are known for their eloquence and clarity. Obama's speeches were known for their eloquence and inspiration. Her eloquence in expressing her thoughts made her a great debater. Posthumous. Occurring, awarded, or appearing after the death of the originator. A posthumous collection of her artwork has just been published. The scientist's posthumous discoveries revolutionized the field of physics. The architect's posthumous designs influenced future generations of architects. Prodigy. A child of unusual or remarkable talent. The prodigy built a computer by the time he graduated high school. The schoolboy was considered a prodigy when he won the contest. The prodigy's talent was recognized and praised by experts in the industry. Panacea. A solution or remedy for all difficulties or diseases. Some people believe that love is a panacea for all emotional pain. The healing power of nature is seen as a panacea for many ailments. Medical researchers are still searching for a panacea to cure all viruses. Transparency. Something is done in an open way without secrets. Honesty and transparency are key elements to creating customer trust. Its depth determines its purity, and its purity determines its transparency. A democracy is a government that promotes transparency and openness. Bureaucracy. A system of administration based upon a hierarchical structure. We will try to minimize the bureaucracy involved in these arrangements. People usually complain about having to deal with too much bureaucracy. There were a few articles in the newspaper inveighing against bureaucracy. The granary. A storehouse in a barn for threshed grain or animal feed. Although the granary was full, the farmers continued to harvest more crops. The granary was protected from pests to ensure the safety of the stored grains. The granary is a reminder of the importance of sustainable agriculture practices. Dead language. A language that is no longer used for communication. Latin is a dead language that was once spoken by the ancient Romans. Latin is considered a dead language, but it still has practical applications. The language of the ancient Sumerians, Sumerian, is now a dead language. Monolith. A very large building, often one that is very tall. The monolith's presence in the city park sparked debates among the locals. The ancient monolith stood tall and mysterious in the middle of the desert. Archaeologists were puzzled by the purpose of the monolith found in the ruins. Homicide. An act in which a human causes the death of another human. In recent years, homicide rates tripled and suicide rates quadrupled. The victim's death was ruled a homicide, and the investigation began. The victim's family will lay charges against the murderer for homicide. Eccentric. Deviating from an established or usual pattern or style. His actions since that morning have been eccentric and unpredictable. His eccentric behavior made it difficult for others to understand him. The eccentric poet wrote verses that were both profound and nonsensical. Bigot. Someone who doesn't tolerate people of different races. Critics say the mayor is a bigot who is inflaming racial tensions in his city. Elaine is a racist bigot who refuses to speak to anyone of a different race. Because Helen is very close-minded, many people consider her to be a bigot. Pseudonym. A name used by a writer instead of their own name. The undercover agent used a pseudonym to infiltrate the crime family. Mark Twain is the pseudonym of the American writer Samuel Clemens. The name mentioned below is a pseudonym to protect the teachers' identities. Manuscript. The original copy of a book or article before it is printed. Most Greek manuscripts have the story, but not the oldest manuscripts. The book's original manuscript is more entertaining than the current version. When you finish your manuscript, start sending it out and see what happens. Agnostic. Who does not have knowledge about the existence of God. If you are skeptical of your religion, you might have become agnostic. The agnostic perspective encourages individuals to question authority. She identifies as agnostic because she believes in the power of human reason. Fastidious. In a way that gives too much attention to small details. She is very fastidious and easily disgusted, both by animals and people. He always loves to have everything very chic and polished and fastidious. They are also fastidious about not being associated with any political party. Traitor. A person who is not loyal to his or her own country or friends. The traitor was executed for his treasonous acts against the kingdom. The traitor was revealed to have been working for the enemy for years. Everyone was shocked to discover that their trusted friend was a traitor. Pagan. A person who has no particular religious beliefs. Pagan religions celebrated the beauty and mystery of the natural world. Because Todd is a pagan, he refuses to practice any of the major religions. Pagan religions place a strong emphasis on personal spiritual experiences. Intruder. Someone who enters a place where they are not allowed. The new security system was able to detect an intruder in the house. The intruder was overcome by force when the homeowner fought back. The people in the room seemed to regard her as an unwelcome intruder. Malcontent. A person who is not satisfied with the way things are. He complained so much that he got a reputation for being a malcontent. The malcontent teenager rebelled against authority at every opportunity. The malcontent politician criticized every decision made by the government. Scapegoat. A person who is blamed for the wrongdoings and faults of others. The scapegoat was blamed for the team's poor performance in the game. The scapegoat was wrongly blamed for the company's financial downfall. The scapegoat was unfairly punished for a crime he had no involvement in. Circumlocution. The use of unnecessary words to express an idea. He tried to use circumlocution to avoid explaining his real intentions. Jones used circumlocution to constantly change the topic of conversation. The senator has used circumlocution to make his responses sound honest. Archipelago. An area that contains a chain or a group of islands. This is a fascinating archipelago at the southern end of the Red Sea. From pure geography, it is difficult to tell where the archipelago starts. The Japanese archipelago is famous for its hot springs, known as onsen. Excursion. A short journey or trip, especially one taken as a leisure activity. The adventurer went on a hot springs excursion for a relaxing adventure. The excursion allowed us to disconnect from technology and enjoy nature. Our excursion to the apple orchard was a great way to learn about farming. Epilogue. A final section or speech after the main part of a book or play. The epilogue tells what eventually happened to the main characters. In Shakespeare's plays, an actor recites the prologue and epilogue. The epilogue can make you feel happy or sad, depending on what happens. Maiden speech. the first speech given by a newly elected or appointed member. In his maiden speech, he reflected that there are no final victories in politics. She was grateful for the opportunity to make her maiden speech in this debate. From his maiden speech onwards, he emphasized the importance of body fitness. Extempore. Done or said without any preparation or thought. The artist created a beautiful extempore painting in just a few minutes. The team's extempore decision-making skills helped them win the game. The actor impressed everyone with his extempore performance on stage. Ballad. A song or poem that tells a story or a slow love song. The song was a beautiful ballad about romancing and falling in love. If they hum a ballad, it can express deep emotions and sentiments. The cover version of the ballad was played at the couple's wedding. Allegory. A narrative story that conveys a complex and abstract message. The story The Ant and the Grasshopper is an allegory about hard work. If the allegory were less ambiguous, it would be more straightforward. We use semantics to understand the meaning of allegory and symbolism. Pedantic. Giving too much attention to formal rules or small details. The gardener's pedantic care for the plants made the garden flourish. The engineer was pedantic about testing the equipment before using it. The pedantic writer meticulously researched every detail of his novel. Hypothesis. An assumption that is made based on some evidence. The statistics to prove or disprove his hypothesis will take years to collect. Her study is based on the hypothesis that language simplification is possible. The authors reject the hypothesis about unemployment contributing to crime. Obsolete. No longer produced or used because something newer exists. So much equipment becomes obsolete almost as soon as it's made. The outdated printing press was considered obsolete in the digital age. Many people believe the internet has made the postal service obsolete. Carnivorous. Relating to a person, animal, or other living thing that eats meat. A snake is a carnivorous reptile that eats rodents and other animals. The carnivorous plant uses its pitcher-shaped leaves to catch insects. The lion is a carnivorous animal that preys on other animals for food. Herbivorous. animals, or other living thing that eat grass and other plants. The Canada goose is a herbivorous bird, feeding on grasses and grains. Muskrats are primarily herbivorous, feeding on aquatic plants and roots. The plant toxin is a natural defense mechanism against herbivorous insects. Momentous. Having great or far-reaching importance or consequence. The voting takes place during momentous times for local government. The ribbon cutting will be a momentous occasion for our organization. Climbing Mount Everest was a momentous achievement for the climbers. Maneuver. A planned action that is intended to obtain an advantage. To prepare for war, the army is conducting maneuvers off the coast. All the fighters landed safely at the airport after the military maneuver. Through the legal maneuvers, the defense lawyer kept her client out of jail. Cannibal. A person who eats the flesh of other human beings. The cannibals' presence in the area made it difficult for anyone to feel safe. The cannibals' crimes were investigated by a team of determined detectives. The cannibal tribe had a strict hierarchy, with the chief being the most powerful. Economical. Marked by careful, efficient, and prudent use of resources. Being economical with resources can help save money in the long run. The company's economical approach to production has reduced costs. The hotel implemented energy-saving measures to be more economical. Heresy. Belief contrary to orthodox religion, especially Christian doctrine. Modalism was considered a heresy by many early Christian theologians. The Arian heresy was a controversial topic that sparked many debates. Heresy can be a divisive issue within families, communities, and nations. Monotonous. Dull, tedious, and repetitious, lacking in variety and interest. Routine work can sometimes become monotonous and repetitive. His job at the assembly line of the car factory is rather monotonous. The monotonous landscape dulls the gorgeousness of the surroundings. Sojourn. A short period when a person stays in a particular place. During our sojourn in Japan, we learned about the culture and traditions. The sojourn in the spa resort was a much-needed break from everyday life. The Outdoor Adventure Club provided many exciting sojourn opportunities. Protocol. a system of rules that explain the correct conduct. The shield-down protocol was initiated as a precautionary measure. The embassy has a protocol office that handles diplomatic etiquette. The standard protocol for this procedure is to wear gloves and a mask. Renegade, who changes and joins a group that is against their own group. The renegade inventor created a new invention that challenged the norm. The renegade mathematician challenged traditional mathematical concepts. He was a renegade, refusing to follow orders, so he was kicked out of the army. Polygamy. Being married to more than one husband or wife at a time. The polygamous community had its own set of customs and traditions. The concept of polygamous marriages is controversial in many societies. Polygamous marriages can result in a larger network of support and resources. Dotage. The period of life in which a person is old and weak. The old woman's dotage was marked by a newfound passion for painting. She worried that her grandmother's dotage would be lonely and isolated. Despite her advanced age and dotage, the queen remained a beloved figurehead. Palatable. Having a pleasant or agreeable taste. The fish had a palatable taste that was enhanced by the lemon sauce. The chef's special dish was not only visually appealing but also palatable. The restaurant's menu had a variety of palatable options to choose from. Stoicism. The quality of experiencing pain or trouble without complaining. Stoicism teaches us to embrace challenges as opportunities for growth. Many people find comfort in the principles of Stoicism during difficult times. The cradle philosophy of Stoicism promotes inner tranquility and resilience. Insomnia. A person has difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. Research on melatonin has not yet shown clearly if it improves insomnia. He had dark circles under his eyes caused by insomnia and malnutrition. Naturally, the course of treatment depends on the root cause of the insomnia. Irreparable. In a way that is impossible to repair or make right again. The extinction of certain species is an irreparable loss to our ecosystem. His dishonorable actions caused irreparable damage to his relationships. The consequences of the war were irreparable for the affected countries. Indispensable. something that is extremely important and necessary. This book is indispensable to anyone interested in space exploration. An intelligent computer will be an indispensable diagnostic tool for doctors. To most teenagers, their mobile phones are indispensable to their happiness. Unquestionable. Not open to question, beyond doubt or dispute. The genuineness of his commitment to the project was unquestionable. The decrees of the emperor were seen as absolute and unquestionable. He has the unquestionable right to defend himself against horrific attack. Opaque. Not able to be seen through. Not transparent. Opaque materials are often used in photography to control lighting. Some paints have an opaque finish that covers up the previous layer. The window was opaque, preventing any sunlight from entering the room. Peninsula. A piece of land that is nearly surrounded by water. The plant is situated on the Kola Peninsula, formerly a military zone. The peninsular region is known for its rich history and cultural heritage. The peninsular city is a hub for water activities such as sailing and fishing. Agenda. A list or outline of things to be considered or done. Marriage is now higher up his agenda than environmental concerns. The agenda is sent to each committee member before the meeting. But he had a different philosophical agenda from his predecessors. Dermatology. The scientific study of the skin and its diseases. This test is usually carried out in dermatology departments in hospital. The dermatologist recommended laser treatment for my skin condition. The dermatologist prescribed a topical cream to treat a patient's eczema. Infanticide. The intentional killing of infants or offspring. Infanticide is a practice that has devastating consequences for families. Infanticide is a violation of human rights and should be punished severely. The media has brought attention to the issue of infanticide in recent years. Regicide. A person who kills a king or is responsible for his death. The regicide sparked a wave of protests and uprisings across the country. The king was loved by the people, and his regicide was a great shock to all. The regicide was seen as a direct challenge to the authority of the monarchy. An anonymous made or done by someone whose name is not known. It's nice to stay in a home rather than in an anonymous holiday villa. An anonymous businesswoman donated $1 million to the charity. Police said an anonymous caller warned that a bomb was about to go off. Curator. A keeper or custodian of a museum or other collection. The museum curator organized an exhibit as a tribute to local artists. The curator's job is to preserve and document the museum's collections. The museum curator explained the history behind each item on display. Fanatic. Someone who has extreme religious ideas and is often dangerous. She was a cooking fanatic and dreamed of opening her own restaurant. The gardening fanatic spent hours tending to their plants and flowers. The music fanatic could identify any song just by hearing the first few notes. Materialistic. Anyone who is obsessively focused on money or things. The rise of commercialism has created a culture of materialistic values. The glorification of wealth can lead to a shallow and materialistic society. Old times were filled with simpler pleasures and fewer materialistic desires. Contemporary. Happening or beginning now or in recent times. The dance competition includes a category for contemporary dance. Like most of my contemporaries, I grew up in a vastly different world. The Contemporary Theater Company produces thought-provoking plays. Optimist. Someone who always sees the bright side of any situation. The optimist believed that good things would come to those who waited. The optimist believes that even the darkest of clouds have a silver lining. The optimist believes that every situation can be turned into a positive one. Pessimist. Someone who thinks that bad things are going to happen. He tends to be a pessimist, but he is working on being more positive. She growls like a pessimist, always seeing the negative in any situation. He is trying to mutate over from being a pessimist to becoming an optimist. Polyglot. A person who knows and is able to use several languages. Being a polyglot opens up a world of opportunities for travel and work. He dreams of becoming a polyglot and speaking fluently in multiple languages. Being a polyglot allows me to communicate with people from different cultures. Orthodox. Considered traditional, normal, and acceptable by most people. Eastern Orthodox is a branch of Christianity, and it has a rich history. The Orthodox Jew refrained from eating meat and dairy products together. The Greek Orthodox Church has a strong emphasis on prayer and meditation. Parasite. An organism that lives in or on an organism of another species. If the larva is infected with a parasite, it may not survive to adulthood. A tapeworm is a type of parasite that lives in the intestines of animals. The flea serves as an intermediate host for the tapeworm parasite in dogs. Omnipotent. Having unlimited power and being able to do anything. The scientists' discovery of a new energy source seemed almost omnipotent. The monotheist philosophy promotes the idea of a single omnipotent creator. The dictator's desire for omnipotent control led to the oppression of his people. Cosmopolitan. Consisting of people and things from many different countries. A cosmopolitan society embraces multiculturalism and celebrates diversity. The cosmopolitan crowd at the theater appreciated the diverse performances. The cosmopolitan atmosphere of the city was both exciting and overwhelming. Infallible. Not capable of being wrong or making mistakes, not fallible. The author's storytelling was infallible, captivating readers with every word. The athlete's aim was infallible, hitting the target with precision every time. The lawyer's infallible arguments convinced the jury of his client's innocence. Itinerant. Someone who travels from place to place, usually for work. In medieval times, chapmen were known for their itinerant lifestyles. The itinerant consultant offered advice to businesses in different industries. The itinerant photographer captured beautiful images from around the world. Aborigine. A member of the original people to inhabit an area. The Aborigine population has faced many challenges due to colonization. The Australian Aborigine has a strong connection to their ancestral lands. The Aborigine music and dance are an important part of their cultural identity. Hinterland. The land or district behind that bordering on a coast or river. The geologist discovered a rare mineral deposit in the remote hinterland. The historian studied the ancient ruins scattered throughout the hinterland. The indigenous tribe had a deep spiritual connection to the sacred hinterland. Aviary. A large cage or covered area in which birds are kept. The parentages of the birds in the aviary were studied by researchers. The aviary is a haven for birdwatchers that enjoy observing rare species. The bird was free to roam around the aviary and fly from branch to branch. Obituary. An article about a recently deceased person. The obituary highlighted her dedication to her family and community. When grandfather died, father sent the obituary to friends and family. The obituary mentioned the deceased's accomplishments and hobbies. Genetics. The study of genes, genetic variation, and heredity in organisms. One cannot study genetics without addressing its ethical implications. Our understanding of human genetics has advanced considerably. We've got a long way to go before we unravel the secrets of genetics. Ethnology. The study and comparison of different peoples and cultures. Ethnology has been variously defined in different national traditions. Ethnology allows us to compare and contrast different cultural practices. Ethnology plays a crucial role in preserving and promoting cultural heritage. Hallucination. Sensory experiences that appear real but are created by your mind. A hallucination is when you see or hear something that isn't really there. The auditory hallucination seemed to be triggered by stress and anxiety. He was convinced that his hallucination was a message from the afterlife. Superficial. Not studying or looking at something carefully or completely. On a superficial reading, you get the idea that this was an unhappy time. The politicians' promises were superficial and lacked any real substance. To make a lasting impression, you need to suit up beyond the superficial. Blasphemy. Impious utterance or action concerning God or sacred things. He was found guilty of blasphemy and sentenced to 3 years in jail. The concept of blasphemy varies across different cultures and religions. Some people believe that questioning the existence of God is blasphemy. Meteorology. The science dealing with the atmosphere and weather conditions. The use of radars in meteorology helps predict severe weather conditions. The exponential equation is used in meteorology to model weather patterns. Meteorology helps us understand climate change and its effects on the planet. Anthropology. The study of the human race, its culture and society. Social anthropology is centrally concerned with the diversity of culture. The field of ethnohistory combines the methods of anthropology and history. The study of myth-making is an important aspect of anthropology and folklore. Ambiguous. Having or expressing more than one possible meaning, sometimes. This agreement is very ambiguous and open to various interpretations. A number of specific issues are left somewhat ambiguous in the document. His answers were ambiguous, so no one could be sure what he meant. Nostalgia. A wistful desire or longing for the good old days of the past. A wave of nostalgia swept over me when I saw my childhood home. The feeling of a good memory brought me pure ecstasy and nostalgia. She looked back on her university days with a certain amount of nostalgia. Anarchy. A state of society without government or law. If we do not have a strong government, there will be rioting and anarchy. The overthrow of the military regime was followed by a period of anarchy. Some people believe that anarchy is the only way to achieve true freedom. Apiculture. Subject relating to beehives and beekeeping. Apiculture requires a deep understanding of bee behavior and biology. Apiculture is one of the oldest branches of agriculture in our community. Apiculture requires patience and dedication to properly care for the bees. Autocracy. A system of government by one person with absolute power. The autocracy has a history of using military force against its own people. The autocracy has a propaganda machine to manipulate public opinion. Instead of this semi-democratic autocracy, there should be full democracy. Immigrant. Someone who comes to live in a different country. The immigrant population is concentrated in or near the large cities. North Africans make up the largest immigrant group in the country. Millions of immigrants came to America from Europe in the 19th century. Honorary. Given as a reward, without qualifying in a standard way. He has been the newly elected honorary president of the commission. She became an honorary member by dint of winning the championship. An honorary degree was conferred on him by Oxford University in 1995. Summon. To order someone to come to or be present at a particular place. The scientist will summon his colleagues to discuss a new discovery. It's helpful to summon around and ask for help when you're struggling. The conductor used a summon horn to gather the orchestra for rehearsal. Incredible. Impossible or very difficult to believe. We have put an incredible amount of work into this project. That guy spends an incredible amount of time and money on his car. It's incredible how fast computers have become a normal part of our life. Nocturnal. Being active or happening at night rather than during the day. The researchers live nocturnal lives in order to study the animals. Sundown is a time for nature to come alive with nocturnal creatures. Gliss are nocturnal animals that prefer to stay hidden during the day.